You all the Syria Ima Banim Smecha, hallelujah, mother of children, joyfully hallelujah. You already knew that coming home, that integration, that repentance, that just ending defensiveness and just listening, just um, 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 just apologizing, but not even apologizing, but changing and coming back into integrity. Tshuva is understanding, and understanding is the Divine Mother, literally the highest Mother, Mother Most High, understanding. And so, and so the God of Language squeezed a little joke about the month, hints to how much it is a wonderful opportunity to start again and go home through reflection. Not through reflection meditation like in, what do you call it, ER. Not to chew over, but just to acknowledge. And we're going to explain more in the context of this, because here's where it starts. I got engaged this last week. So far, so good. Matzah isha matzah tov. Gimel. Someone who found a bride found good. That's what good is. What does it mean you found good? I'll tell you what it means. Matzah isha matzah tov. Vayifek ratzon miyah. And that's just from Proverbs. And his will, yafik, moves, peaks, pokes from this. Im hayot she'en mikra yotzeh midei pshuto. If it's true that that a thing doesn't go too far from its most literal truth, let's say you say something and it's true in this like esoteric sense, it's probably also true literally in a literal sense, because things don't get too far from their fundamental meanings. And you can't read something too far away from just the way it's written, lest the mystics convince you otherwise. It's the Gemara in Shabbos 63. And on top of all this, because Father said, I really want to say, occurs to me, I want to say something about this month opportunity. Ratzon. I almost translated Ratzon as opportunity. Will you forgive me, thou Lord of language and understanding? I almost translated Ratzon as opportunity. That's not fair at all. Ratzon is will. Ratzon is what you want. But to say days of will is not what Yemei Ratzon are. It's not in that. Yemei Ratzon. Days of, I don't know, man. It sounds good. Days of opportunity. Like a chance for something good to happen. These are days of wonderful opportunities. ימים של משה להר, נקבל לוחות אחרונות ונצא הקדוש ברוך הוא ישראל בשמחה ובמחלה. These are the days that Moses went up. Those tablets, whatever they're made of, whatever they said, smashed them. Because it wasn't good enough. Because it wasn't at all good enough. And in the beginning of Elul, it goes back up for another 40 days. And that's where the second tablets that are the Torah that we got, more or less. And these are the days when you can get those second Torahs, when you can get the thing that is actually what you have forever. There is something in will that's active, where you can be good-willed. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael b'simcha ub'machal. When you forgive them, and forgive them, and forgive forgave them. From here and from forwards, these days became days of, I'll say it again, Ratzon doesn't mean opportunity, but Yemei Ratzon, I think, says, days of Ratzon, opportunity to awaken the souls of Israel to repentance. Wouldn't that be great? And as if our days, Yiparayim, is easy to receive returners, right? Let's say someone was the worst in a million ways, just believed and did the worst things, and then they ran. Just be a little sorry. Ooh. What if it was just so easy for them to be received, right? Can you imagine how sorry everyone would be if they knew it was safe to be sorry? I mean, one of the most terrible lessons we learn in the world, but important one, is that you really shouldn't be sorry much at all at people. It's just tiring. How did I ever get ex-wives and ex-girlfriends to hate me, right? Just being sorry in a pathetic way where you can't even hear the sorry because it's so self-indulgent and demanding. I'm sorry at you, so think about me because I'm sorry at you. And like a certain kind of sorry is completely unforgivable. And there's a certain part of us that only apologizes for things we've already gotten away with, almost like to brag. I'm really sorry for the thing that happened that doesn't stop happening. Right? And there's a certain kind of sorry that's expressed in no words at all, just because you don't do something that you used to do, that used to break somebody's heart and ruin their lives. Let's just say, if there was something that you did, let's just say you're abusive, or worse, all the worst things anyone can do, and there's a lot of space for people to be terrible in this world because of the imbalance in the sun and the moon, so I'm told. Just a lot of space for one to be bigger than the other, and the other to be torn apart by it in all kinds of ways. But let's say you'd be sorry, and it would be okay and safe to be sorry. And it wouldn't mean that you had to be destroyed. And it wouldn't mean you had to be wrong. And it would still mean, from that day, which was in Elul, you recall, or Tishrei, right on the edge. Cusps will get you. Right at the end of Elul, is he created? Right at the beginning of Tishrei, was he wrong? And he was drawn and pulled just into the tree of understanding, knowledge between good and bad until that day. Everyone ever since then can't help but experience and notice. ועל פי הרוב הרע מתגבר ונדמה לאדם בדעתו שזהו הטוב. Whatever you want to say, everything people don't like about the world, however you want to define that thing that no one appreciates anymore. Al pi harov hara, through all the harm, through all the bad. מתגבר נדמה לאדם, understanding that the bad is actually good, the thing that's awful is fine for the best, is any way that we justify the wrong and hurt we do, they keep getting better. They keep getting better ones. And that the truest, highest will, the truest, highest priority, the truest, highest, clearest thing that's wanted, the actual will, the good helper. And this is what's hinted at. Find a girl and you find a bride. Be too gendered. I think you can have a bride of any gender. But a bride is a femme thing. Where Dracula uses the term bride for Jonathan Harker. I don't know anything about Saturn so much, but I think it's because Saturn is the beginning of taking and judging. And in a lot of Africa is the side of Saturn. I wonder where the inversions are. Virgo is, I associate very much just on the surface with both faces of Aphrodite. But I haven't looked it up. Let's see what he says. This is what it means. Someone who finds a bride, which is the maiden, which is Elul, which is repentance, which is the mother and the bride all at once, which is integrity and is repentance and is wholeness. Although he hasn't used the word wholeness, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I keep adding words. But I think it's because I'm just trying to get to the core of it. Part of being sorry is noticing what you should, which is a big part of integrity. And the check-in about what needs to be noticed and appreciated and acknowledged. We could all use a little more acknowledgement. Does Saturn use I language? I think the problem of Saturn and the curse of Saturn and judgment about someone who found a bride, which is they found understanding, which is they found repentance. And for sure, they found good. That means they found good. That's what it is to find good. Find wholeness. And so on. And he finds, and he knows, and judges between good and bad. And that's when the will forever. Right? Maybe that's something that can be ruined, like a mess. Like let's say you make something beautiful and someone just makes it, you can't fix it. Maybe that's a thing that happens and is possible. Chas v'shalom. No, it's not true. But people might have thought this when the first luchos were destroyed, the whole golden calf incident. They may have thought, oh, I've ruined it. Now God and Satan cannot love me anymore. And so, days for finding the good. This right now, for the next little bit, for the next 20-something days, it's a really good time to find the good. The king is in the field. The heat is settling down. The figs are starting to come. It's a really good time to find good. And to notice good in each other, in ourselves, in our intentions, and in our priorities. In order to be sorry, you have to find the ways you were right. In order to see what should and could have been done better, you have to notice what was so good and what was so right. And what is so good. Elul, the end of days, the end of the summertime, summer's end. Graham Morrison and Fear use it as a euphemism for the end of the world. Summer's end. Which is Elul, which is this right now. This is the DMT release, as they say. אז יבוא לך התערותא דלילה מן הרצון העליון. And so it'll come to you an awakening from above. From the highest and truest, most fundamental will and clarity and priority. You won't be able not to notice what's important when you listen and come back into integrity. You won't be able not to notice because the quietest voice will speak so loud. From the highest, purest will and desire. And it'll open your eyes to things. La, la, la.